Welcome back. In today's tutorial, we're going to launch an Amazon EC2 instance step by step using the AWS Management Console. Well, EC2, short for Elastic Compute Cloud, is Amazon's secure resizable compute service, basically virtual machines in the cloud that you can start and stop whenever you need. To follow along, you'll need an AWS account and a web browser. Once you're in, look at the top right corner to confirm your region. For example, North Virginia or Frankfurt. Region matters because your resources and pricing vary by region. So I'm going to choose Frankfurt for now. Now in the search bar at the top, type EC2 and select EC2 to open the service dashboard. On the EC2 dashboard, you'll see your instances, volumes, security groups, and some quick links. We'll spend most of the time under Instances. So, click Instances in the left menu. Then click Launch Instances. Right here, or right here, the orange button. Well, right here at the top, give your instance a name like EC2 Demo. Well, names are just tags to help you find things later. Okay, next. Next will be AMI, the Amazon Machine Image. Think of an AMI as the template for your server's operating system. Well, and the base software. The popular choices are Amazon Linux or Amazon Linux 2023, which is lightweight, secure, and free tier eligible, and basically great for demos and Linux apps. Ubuntu, very popular in the Linux world, large community and package ecosystem. And Windows Server is basically used for Windows workloads and RDP access. So for this tutorial, I'll choose Amazon Linux 2023 to keep things simple and free tier friendly. Now let's pick an instance type. Instance types, they define CPU, memory, storage performance, and networking. For beginners and testing, choose T2 Micro or T3 Micro, depending on region availability, which are commonly free tier eligible. They have 2 virtual CPUs and about 1 gig of RAM. Enough for basic demos. If you need more performance, you can move up to a T3 small or T3 medium later, but remember, cost increases with size. But I choose T3 medium as my free tier expired years ago. Alright, now let's move forward. Key pair time. A key pair is how you securely log into your instance without a password. It has a public key, goes with AWS, and a private key which stays with you. I already have my own key pair, but if you don't, go ahead and click Create New Key Pair. Give it a name like EC2 Tutorial Key, and for the key pair type, you can keep RSA, and for the private key file format, choose .pem if you are on a Mac or Linux, or .ppk if you're using Windows like console, Windows terminal, PUTTY, right? So now we can go ahead and click on Create Key Pair. Yep, let me close this one. And actually, after creating a key pair, your browser will download it. Will download the private key and store it safely. You cannot download it again from AWS. And if you lose it, you won't be able to SSH into your instance any longer. Now let's take a look at the network settings. Well, in network settings, choose your VPC. That's your virtual private cloud, a logical isolated network in AWS. If you're new, the default VPC will be just fine. Pick a subnet in an availability zone that is close to you. Also, you should turn on auto-assign public IP if you want to connect from the internet. Well, without a public IP, you'd need a VPN or SSM session manager, which is actually out of scope. of our tutorial. So click and select Enable. Okay, now let's handle the security group, a virtual firewall that controls inbound and outbound traffic to your instance. For Linux instances, add an SSH rule on port 22. For source, choose My IP to restrict access to your public IP. Avoid using 0.0.0.0 unless this is just a quick demo. So you click on the drop-down menu and click on My IP. And there you go, you can see your own IP address. For Windows instances, you'd use RDP on port 3389. And again, My IP as the source. So the best practice is least privilege. Open only what you need from where you need it. Under Configure Storage, you'll see an EBS volume, Elastic Block Store. That's the persistent disk attached to your instance. Defaults are usually general purpose SSD or GP3 and 8 gigs. You can increase size if you'll install more software and change the type like IO1, IO2 for provisioned IOPS. For our demo, we will use 10 gigabytes of GP3. Well, it's perfect for now. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at advanced settings. For now, we don't need join directory or something like that. IAM instance profile is an interesting thing, but we'll skip it for now. Okay, now let me scroll it all the way down. User data. It lets you run a script at first boot. Great for quick setup or demos. For example, on Amazon Linux, you could install Nginx automatically. And right here, let's write a very short script that installs Nginx. And that'll be fair enough to start Nginx at the first boot time. Now let's go ahead and recap what we have configured here. So we got our instance name, EC2 demo, we have our AMI, then our instance type there. Yep. Then a key pair, my key pair, as you can see, DevOps. All right. Then network settings, the default VPC, then the security group. I will select the existing security group with already predefined ports. Then our storage configuration with 10 gigabytes of GP3 EBS volume. And all the way down our init script, which will be run at the first boot of the EC2 instance. So what we can do is just go ahead and click Launch Instance. All right, now let's go ahead and navigate to Instances. All right, in this screen, you can see that our EC2 demo instance is up and running. Let's double check. Yep, we have our public IP address here, right? And now it's about time to go ahead and connect to our EC2 instance using SSH. All right, now I'm in my terminal. And to connect to my Amazon Linux 2023, I'm going to be using the username EC2-user. Well, and if I was on Ubuntu, I would use Ubuntu as a username. And well, if you have a Red Hat version of or CentOS, it could be either EC2-user or CentOS username. Now let's go ahead and connect to our EC2 instance. So it'll be EC2-user or username and the public IP. Also, we got to use the key pair that we downloaded previously. In my case, it's devops.pem. Then we press enter and say yes to our first connection. And there you go. We have just successfully connected to our EC2 instance. And what we can do now is to double check if our Nginx is successfully installed and it's up and running. And to do that, we need to run the following command: sudo systemctl status nginx. And here we go. We can see that our service is up and running. Okay, let's double check it running the curl command against the local host. Okay, local host. Oh no, host. All right. Welcome to Nginx. So we have successfully installed the Nginx server on the EC2 instance. So when we're done, we should not forget to stop the instance to pause compute charges or terminate to delete it and stop paying for the instance. But remember, EBS volumes can still cost money if you leave them around, so delete unused volumes and snapshots. So we select our EC2 instance and click on terminate or delete the instance. Okay, let's click on skip OS shutdown and click on terminate or delete, right? So in this case, the EC2 instance and the EBS volume will be deleted and I won't have to pay for them anymore. And that's it. You learned how to launch, configure, and connect to an EC2 instance using the AWS console, choosing an AMI, instance type, key pair, network and security, storage, optional advanced settings, and how to verify and connect. If this was helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more AWS tutorials, and drop your questions or next video ideas in the comments. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye for now.